because she's able to manipulate people, that's what she's grown up with. She's
Yeah.
grown up with manipulation and lies, and she has gotten away with it up to a point.
Yeah.
And then she thinks she can continue these antics in social media where, no. Unfortunately, you're coming across people who have a bit more brains in their cells or whatever you want to...
That's us, guys. That's you guys. That's you guys watching this video.
Oi, it's Lady Flo. Hello, beauties and gents. Thank you for being here. Shout out to Anxious Aunts. Coolest ladies, right? I love their little duo. They make you laugh, they're informative, and they have a good point. Gypsy Rose is pulling every antic she can. She's got this toolbox, and she's just like boom, boom, boom. Antic after antic, splashing in every direction. Now, we got smarty tarts, and we're looking at Gypsy splashing, and we're like, what? WTF? What is going on? Well, I think what's going on is, let's imagine Gypsy's a swimmer. She's in the ocean, and, there's sharks in the distance. There's like a fin, but it's way, way out. That was Gypsy when she came out of prison. People started watching the interrogation footage. Remember, the 12-hour footages were released. The crime scene photos were leaked. And I'm sure this made her think like, oh no, this shark of truth might come closer to me. I need to splash. I need to scare it away, or at least confuse it so it can't know where I am or what I'm doing. So she starts splashing in every direction. And the closer we get to the truth, do you notice how the splashes just get bigger and bigger, like in every direction? To the point where Gypsy releases a book even that completely unravels and conflicts with every story she's ever told. And even in the book itself, there are conflicting stories. Now, she did address this and said that it was a clerical error, but someone gave that clerical that information. But here we are. We're watching Gypsy's antics, and we're just thinking, what is up with this? Why does she feel this need to create chaos and confusion? And can't girl just stick to one story, But here's what I think is going on. This interrogation footage gets released, and maybe there's some stuff there you don't want people to see. And then the crime scene photos get released, and you're like, gosh, dang it, People are going to see this crime scene and they're going to know it's absolutely bull, that none of it makes sense. And they're going to start asking questions. The closer we get to the core of who Gypsy is and the core of who Nick is, well, the bigger she splashes. She thinks if I splash in every direction and tell different stories that conflict with one another, perhaps I can scare the shark of truth far, far away from me. Well, this is the opposite of what you want to do when there's a shark in the water. You see, if you just stay still, stay calm, if she had stuck with the one story, well, the shark would have never come closer. The truth would have just gotten further and further away. But in Gypsy's case, her need for control, her need to ensure that no one would discover what she's trying to splash away, the easier it is to find the truth. Now, we've all looked at the crime scene photos. We understand that logically they don't make sense. And when we look at the core of who Nick is and who the core of Gypsy is, we can find this by listening to what they say. If you want to know the core of someone, listen to what they say. When we listen to Nick, he talks about being an honorable man. He talks about keeping his word, and that it was his word to Gypsy that he would do anything for her. It was this promise he made to her that is what convinced him to even show up to the crime scene on June 9th to 10th, 2015. To find the core of Gypsy, all we have to do is listen to her common phrases. Coming out of prison, she talked about living her best life. The songs that inspired her were songs about freedom and being yourself and just doing you, not worrying about other people. The D is fire. I'm in my hot girl era. These are the core of Gypsy Rose. Now, when we compare the two, who is more likely to be trusted? Well, in my opinion, Nick is more likely to be trusted. He shows respect, humility. He forgives Gypsy even though she framed him by putting those two gloves in two different states. No! He loves her. Even now, he says he would do anything for her. Because verbiage is this, I am Christian, he says, and this means I don't judge. Even from prison, even without documentaries being made about him, even without the social media and the antics, the respect of the public is with Nick. And this is why letters are being sent out, petitions are being signed. Now, the truth always comes to the surface. I looked at the interrogation footage. When this footage came out, this is when Gypsy started splashing in the water a lot. And then when the crime scene photos came out, that's when she went like super mash splashing. What is in this footage and the crime scenes that we're missing? Now, I think I found it. When you see what I'm going to show you, all of her splashing is going to make perfect sense. So watch carefully. I'm going to play the interrogation footage for Nicholas Godejohn when cops leave the room and he mumbles to himself. And then we'll talk about it.
Apparently she decided to just go with it. And screw it. Me, I actually held together until I learned that she didn't lie.
Through our ears, we hear the message Nick is saying, but through our eyes, we're visually reading the auto caption. So here's what we're going to do now. We're going to watch this clip, but from a perspective of we've never seen this clip before. We don't know what he's going to say.
Apparently she decided to just go with it. And screw it. Me, I actually held together until I learned that she didn't lie.
Sometimes two words can sound very similar. I do lip reading just for fun. I have my whole life. And often, even the mouth can move the same for similar words. Now, whoever put this auto caption on originally, in my opinion, incorrectly used two words at the end of Nick's sentence. When Nick says that he held it together until he found out she didn't lie, well, that sentence doesn't really add up. I mean, why would Nick hold himself together and then find out that Gypsy did not lie? Because if you're Nick at this point, you're sitting there in that chair and you know that your girl framed you and that she did lie about a lot of things, including the Dan you don't want to apologize to. I listened to this clip hundreds of times. I wanted to make sure I was right about this. I'm now going to play the clip with the correct auto-typed words according to what I believe Nicholas Godejohn said. Let's watch.
Apparently she decided to just go with it. And screw it. Me, I actually held together until I learned that she didn't lie. I learned that she didn't lie. I learned that she didn't lie.
Apparently, she decided to just go with it and screw it. Me, I actually held it together. Until I learned she did the crime. Or did Nick say what the auto caption told us he said by changing the two words did the crime to didn't lie? Apparently, she decided to just go with it and screw it. Me, I actually held it together until I learned she didn't lie. Thank you for your time, for all your love and support. Your comments mean the world. And I know to Nicholas Godejohn, your letters do too. Let me ask you, which one do you believe Nick said? One paints him as an honorable man who kept his word to do anything for Gypsy, even spending life in prison for her. And the other shows that Gypsy played a much bigger hand than she admits, involving the crime on June 9th, 2015.